Hello everyone. I've had a little bit of a hard time trying to figure out how I'm going to post videos because the video on my computer sucks, and my phone and all of that, so I thought maybe I was going to have to go buy one. But fortunately, manifestation works, and out of the blue, I had a client, a very dear client of mine, actually give me an iPad. So I'm able to do videos and do them with decent quality. I have wanted to post a video about a conjunction that I recognized when I did a solar return chart. For those of you who aren't familiar, I'm going to try to get this out of the sun a little bit. That might be better. Okay. A solar return chart is a predictive astrological chart for the year. You were born, everybody was born at their sun at a certain degree of their zodiac sign. The sun was in a particular zodiac sign at the time of birth, and that's what we most go on when we say, oh, what's your sign? It's your sun sign, right? For those of you who aren't familiar. So for instance, I have my sun sign at 9 degrees Pisces, and so every year I do a solar return chart at 9 degrees Pisces. Anyway, I was doing a solar return for somebody. She's born October 16th. Hopefully this is up all the way, I hope to God. Okay, so anyway, I learned about this months ago, and my intention was to create a post about it a long time ago. So when I did this solar return, I recognized a conjunction because it was for this year, October 16th. And when I saw that, I was pretty concerned, not necessarily for the client on a personal level, but there's also something we call horary astrology. This is an astrology that was used more often than not before person-centric astrology came into play many years ago during the Roman Empire. Before that, people usually did charts for kings and queens and wars and for the birth of nations and things like that. So the United States has its own chart, July 4th, 1776 at 4:50 p.m. in Philadelphia. Our Declaration of Independence was signed, and so that is the timestamp and the day for when we consider the chart for the United States. And then also, of course, I did a chart for October 17th, 2016 this year, and it shows actually this conjunction perfectly for that day. If you can see this, there are a couple planets here. This is what concerns me. This is a conjunction between Mars and Pluto, and of course Mars being the planet of war and Pluto being kind of not necessarily a warring planet, but a planet that intensifies any other planet it's next to, and also creates learning through and growing through destructive forces, sort of Kali type forces, if you're familiar with the goddess Kali, where, you know, trial by fire type energy. It is a planet that rules Scorpio, and both of those energies are relegated to the cycle of life, birth, degeneration, and regeneration. And when it's next to Mars, in Capricorn, the planet of war, I was pretty concerned, and part of the reason I was, or the main reason I should say I was concerned, because actually this conjunction, it's kind of backwards, I guess, if you look at this conjunction, for me personally, is actually really good. but for the United States, with I don't know if you can see that, all of these placements, including the part of fortune in Cancer. So if you're not familiar with who runs the world in this country, but especially the bankers who run the world, they're all Freemasons. And these people are really familiar with numerology, astrology, all of the esoteric sciences and metaphysical energy. They utilize this energy to manipulate and control energy around the planet, including our what we call our energy grid. They knew what they were doing the day they signed it. They planned it. They planned for all of this in Cancer. Mars and Gemini, a lot of back talk, a lot of shit talking. You know, when they get upset, when we get upset, and Cancer being the sign that really rules the understanding that you're either with me or you're against me, in home and comfort and all of those things. And then of course Sag rising, right? Bigger, better, more. But that's not really what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is this conjunction, Mars and Pluto in Capricorn, which is and as you can see, there's this configuration that's called a T-square. That's a very difficult aspect to deal with in astrology. It needs to be balanced out with some Cancer. There's a T-square in cardinal signs, which include Aries, Libra, and Cancer, Capricorn. This is called the cardinal cross, and it's missing a planet. Part of fortune doesn't count as a planet necessarily, but it's interesting that on this particular day this year, the part of fortune will be at 19 degrees Cancer, when the part of fortune for the United States in 1776 was at 21 degrees Cancer. So there'll definitely be a conjunction in parts of fortune, but unfortunately there's planets missing to balance out these energies. So all of these planets in the chart of the United States are actually by transit, which is when the planets, planetary placements going on right this minute, they transit a particular chart from the past. It's called a transit. So all of those Cancer planets are going to be opposite this transit of a Pluto-Mars conjunction in Capricorn. When I saw this, I was concerned. I got a little nervous. I didn't want to create any kind of hysteria, or I don't like to sensationalize fear. It's not my deal, but it's good to be prepared. So what's going on with Putin right now is absolutely no surprise to me with this conjunction. There's a possibility of this standoff happening for quite a while, as Cancer is the sign that needs to balance out the energies for this particular time. This conjunction, even though I did it for, I think it was the 18th, 17th, actually is starting in between tomorrow and the next day, 11th and 12th of October. It's going to go on till about this, till, oh God, I'd say closer to the end of the month, right about the 22nd. Mars moves really fast, so it's the transit itself is causing tension, and it's no surprise that it's so close to election time. That's another thing that alarmed me, that it was so close to election time. Just be aware that on a personal level, if you've got any planets in Aries, Libra, Capricorn, or Cancer, you might feel some pressure. You might feel the need to fight, argue, opposition coming your way, challenges that you need to deal with. But more importantly, as a nation, as in the world, be aware that there'll be some forces that are challenging the United States at this time, as we know Russia is. And interestingly enough, that particular gentleman, Mr. Putin, is a Libra, so he is a cardinal sign. He's definitely challenging, squaring off with us, as he is in this chart as well. Libra squares Capricorn and squares Cancer. So it's to the point where certain energies, certain powers in the world aren't going to tolerate some of our youngster type shenanigans. So be prepared. If you hear something jump off more than it already has, and somebody's challenging the United States, don't be surprised. There's astrology 101 here. It's on paper. So like I said, don't be alarmed, but at the same time, I definitely wouldn't ignore it and be aware of it for yourself. Okay? So I'll probably do more of these. Now that I have this iPad, I'll start doing some more posts regarding astrological positions and focusing on moon phases and things to that sort. So have a wonderful day, everybody. It's almost 11 and I have a client come have a reading. So I'll have to let everyone go. Have a wonderful day.